Closing a sale is not an easy thing. It's simple, but not easy. In fact, sales is actually one of the most challenging areas of any business. We take pleasure in helping our clients with our services, but we don't seem to enjoy convincing them that that service is the best choice. And that's because there are so many different variables to pitching and closing a sale. Some of them are emotional. You may have had a bad experience in the past, or maybe you have some fears that would prevent you from feeling confident, knowing that you could do that. Some of them are totally related to pure practice. You gotta get out there and you gotta show up and fail as many times as you can. There's actually an incredible book I read the other day called Go for No. The authors, Richard Fenton and Andrea Watts, they teach you how to focus on the failures rather than the wins, so you can celebrate the no's that you get and just be happy with them. I read that not long ago and I just loved it. All the variables that contribute to your success in sales are simple mistakes that we are not aware of. I'm Jack Tristao, and I help coaches grow their personal coaching brands to attract more clients and sell more, and then reach 8,000 a month in services. To have financial freedom and then feel compensated for the beautiful work that you do. And today I made a short list of the 7 common mistakes coaches make on sales calls. So let's get to them. Oh, by the way, they're not listed in any order. I didn't sort them by importance or any other categories. There are 7 mistakes, and I'm gonna go over the 7 of them, each one by one. That's it. So you may have made one mistake, you may have made 2 of them, or even all of the 7. I know I have all of the 7. So you found your prospect, you learned the method I teach, or you already knew how to find your ideal client online. So you went out there, you found them, you connected with them, so you provided some value, you offered help, and then you got them on a sales call or a discovery call. You do your thing, you get to know them, you ask about their struggles, and then you offer some help. And you don't close that one. Maybe they couldn't afford your price. Maybe they were not a good fit. It's possible. Or maybe you made a mistake. Who knows? So let's see. The first mistake we're gonna go over here is, I have them jotted down here, not doing your homework up front. What does that mean? That sounds a bit obvious, but it's very common. So you need to get ready to talk to your prospective client. It's easy to do that if you have access to their online profile, for example. So you can see what they've been posting. You can see what they posted last, or just recently, and then you know what they do. Why this is a mistake? Because if you go to a sales call and you don't know them, it's a moment where you're gonna put them in an uncomfortable position, because you're gonna actually have them decide whether or not they hire you, they buy your product. And so there's an uncomfortable moment already there on the call. So you want them to feel as comfortable as possible. And in order to have them feel comfortable, they need to know you. They need to see that you know them and you know a little bit about what they do. So you're not just going on calls and talking to like 50, 100 people a week. You know them, you know what they do, you know a little bit about their struggles. Maybe you've seen them on a video and then you can comment. Maybe you can talk about that video or just mention. You watch 1 or 2 minutes of a video, maybe you see one of their posts, go to their website, see what their mission is. You can see that. Maybe there's like a bio there, so you understand what they do, where they're coming from. That's a mistake easy to fix. You understand that if you go to a sales call not prepared, you may be distancing yourself from your prospect. So it sounds obvious, but it's not obvious until it's said, right? So we have to be careful and go to our sales call ready. It's a simple one to fix. You're probably doing that already. I mean, fixing the mistake, the problem. You're already prepping for your calls, but it's a common mistake and we have to address that one. Mistake number one. Mistake number two, coaching your prospects. That's an easy one. It's common. I've done coaching a lot, and all of my clients, my students, they are coaches too. And it's inevitable when you feel that your potential client is in need of some assistance. So you ask the right questions. You want to know about their problems, what they're going through. So you ask the questions and you try to offer some help. That's a big mistake. They're not ready to be coached. They didn't give you permission to coach them. So that's why it's a common mistake. It may sound obvious also. Oh, I know. I gotta go there and sell. I'm not coaching. Not so obvious. Many of my students, they go to a sales call and try to coach their clients because it's what they do. It's their job. They're coaches. So they feel that they should offer some help. They have the method, they have the tool, they have the technique. So they see a problem, they see a struggle, and they want to help. They can help themselves, and they try and help with some coaching. That's a big mistake. Because when you open a wound, you should have time to close it. And that should be done on a coaching session, not on a strategy or a sales call. You don't have the time, you don't have the opportunity, you don't have the consent. They didn't give you permission to coach them. So you can actually disconnect from them and you end up failing and not closing that sale. So that's a very common mistake. You want to coach, you have that urge to help. It's genuine and it's pure and it's noble. But if you try and coach them, it's not the right moment. So there are some roles that we have to play, obviously. The teaching, the coaching, and the selling. When you are on a sales call, you are the salesperson. You're not teaching and you're not coaching. If you're on a webinar, you may be teaching, and there's a transition from teaching to selling, and I teach that. It's a very delicate transition. We've talked about that. I talk about that in other videos. My program includes that too. It's a very delicate transition. We have to be careful about that. But on sales calls, you don't have time to be teaching. You only have time to understand where they're coming from, their pain, and how you can offer some help. And the help is your program, your service. But that's a sales call, not a coaching session. So that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, you offer a solution before understanding if they are a good fit. That's very common too. I see that happening a lot. You go to a sales call, you have the solution, and you get ready, you rehearse, you have your script, you have all the questions you have to ask in order to understand about their situation. And then you offer your solution. You want to talk about what you can offer. And that's a big mistake because they may not be a good fit. And it happens all the time. You got to go on calls and then get to know your prospects and then see if it's a good fit. Right? But you have a solution right here. It's the method you've been working on for such a long time. So you just want to give it to them. And that's what you do. You give the solution and they're not a good fit. For that solution, for that specific solution, maybe you can offer some help in a different way. Maybe they could buy a different program from you. Maybe they could buy a less expensive program. Maybe it's not a high ticket for them at that stage. It's a different thing. So you want to offer some other help, not that solution that you have packaged, that you have packed here in a package. and then you just deliver the solution without understanding if they're a good fit. That's a very common mistake. We have to be careful. So understand where they're coming from, talk about their pain points, address them, repeat the pain points to them. That's a very good strategy. I teach that in my sales course. Repeat and address the pain points, repeat them back to the prospect so that they see that you are paying attention, and then you can confirm whether those pain points are the right ones. When you understand that, you see if it's a good fit, then you can offer the solution. Do not offer the solution without seeing if they're a good fit first. That's mistake number 3. Moving on, mistake number 4. Not telling a successful story. It doesn't have to be a great story. It doesn't have to be a magnificent, successful, brilliant story that you've experienced. It could be something that happened to you and it helped you overcome that obstacle. It could be one of your client's story also. Talk about yourself. I'm always repeating myself here because I'm all pro storytelling, personal stories. Connect with your prospective client by talking about you. They want to know how you overcame those obstacles, those hurdles, and then that's when you tell your stories. But you can also talk about your client's stories, testimonials. Talk about how they fixed the problem, how your method helped them fix their problems. It's common. I see that happening when they go, my clients, my students, they go on sales calls. They don't talk about the wins that their clients had, or they had the wins that they had themselves. You have to talk about that's the moment where they understand that could be possible for them too. They realize, okay, so it's a thing that I could do that. I could fix that using that solution that he just mentioned. But it's not obvious. So you have to tell them this works, and that's how it worked. And that's when a story comes in. Do not forget to talk about your story or your client's story. Successful stories. Talk about yourself. They want to know you, so you talk about how you came to become the facilitator that you are today, and then you can also talk about your client's stories, how they fixed the problems. Don't forget to tell the stories. It connects. Stories connect. I'm always talking about this in my videos, my courses, my seminars. Stories connect. That's mistake number 4. Moving on. Mistake number 5, not having an intention to close the sale. This is a common one, and it's not an easy one to fix. I'll tell you why. When we are performing, whether it's on a sales call or maybe a webinar or even it's live on stage, you are teaching, you are performing, and there's a pitch in the end, and you worry that you want to do well. You want to deliver the right message. You want them to connect. You want them to be paying attention. So you are worried that you may fail. Something may go wrong. And many different things could distract you from your trajectory. And that's a common thing to happen. It's unavoidable. And there's a fix, obviously, but it can happen to anyone. It happens to me all the time. Someone asks a question, if it's a live, for example, and then you're going live on Facebook, and then someone asks a question, and you see that question, you're like, I don't know the answer. So if you're a bit nervous because, oh my God, what are they gonna think about me? And I'm not enough. So the imposter syndrome creeps in, and it's a mess. You don't know how to continue. When that happens, you just want to finish. And you forget about the main goal. What is it? To close the sale, to close the deal, to finish your presentation by winning a new client. It's not to be presentable. That's not your goal. To be liked, that's not your goal. To look nice on a video, that's not your goal either. You want the sale. If it's a webinar, you want people buying, clicking the button. If it's a sales call, You want them to say yes. Okay, I want to work with you. That's your main goal. So throughout the whole process, you may be distracted by some possibilities of maybe failures. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you don't know if you're delivering it well, and that creeps in and distracts you, and you forget about what you were doing. I remember when I was learning how to swim in the ocean, and my teacher, he taught me how to actually stick my head out of the water and look ahead. And it was weird because I was practicing in a pool, in a swimming pool, and I had to actually look up, like every 3 strokes, had to look up and look ahead. And I didn't know why I had to do that. And then he told me, no, you know why? It's because you can't see anything when you have your head down in the ocean. It's pitch dark. It's you don't see anything. So there's no tiles for you to be paying attention and then have like a straight line to follow. So you have to stick your head out of the water to correct your course. And then you can see where you're going, and then you don't waste energy swimming, zigzagging throughout your course. You fix your trajectory. That's why you have to stick your head out of the water. And it's the same thing on a presentation. It's the same thing with your performance. You have to be sticking your head out of the water and see, where am I going? Every 2, 3, 4 minutes, maybe every 30 seconds, something may not going right and you need to fix it. And so I see this mistake happening all the time. People forgetting about their intention. They forget that they're there on that call to make a sale, not to be liked, not to be interesting, not to make a friend. You know, maybe that person is so cool. Maybe you enjoying the conversation so much, and you see a connection happening there, and you know, it's awesome to be there. You enjoying yourself talking with your prospect, and then you forget that you're selling. You should be selling. That's a big mistake. So not having an intention to close. Remember, stick your head out of the water, see where you're going. Oh, all right, that's my goal, the sale. So you start asking the questions again. Don't get distracted by your different possibilities, or maybe questions, or maybe struggles throughout the call. Have your intention clear and go back to it all the time, every time you can. Mistake number 6. I absolutely love this one. Describing your product. I like it because it's polemic and it's opinion splitting. It's people. When I say that, that's a mistake. You shouldn't describe your product. Like, what? Well, isn't it what I should be selling? My product, my service. Yes. The problem is, you are offering help to solve a problem, to fix, to address a pain. You wanna help them with their pain points. When you describe your product, that product may include a solution to something to a problem that they don't have. It's common, and I see that happening. My students, my clients, they start describing their modules. This is my package, this is my course, this is my program. It's called Solving Your Problem, or A Better Life in 3 Steps. It's a beautiful title, it's a juicy title. So you want to talk about, because it's your baby, you created it, so you want to talk about that. And you start going on about the modules, about the benefits, the method that you will be working with them. They're not interested in your product. They're interested in the problem solving. If they're interested in their problem being solved, they're interested in getting rid of the pain. That's what they're interested in. Don't go on describing your product. Module 4 or module 6 or whatever may be something that they already know. So when you offer some help, they go, okay, I'm interested in knowing how you can help me. And then you talk about a module that they know all about. Maybe they're very good at that. So they feel like, am I gonna be paying for something that I already know? I don't know. You disconnect from them. Again, don't don't describe your product. Don't go on reading all your modules. I like this one because I see people complaining about this when I talk about this. They go like, oh Jack, come on man, I gotta talk about my product. You ask them, you tell them that you can solve their problem. Would that be something I could do for you? Are you interested in solving that problem? And wait for the answer. If they say yes, okay, I have a resource for you. And they ask about the product, and then you talk about the things in your product that could solve that problem. If module 4 is not something that would solve that specific problem, you don't mention it. You don't have to. If you do, that may be killing your sale. So mistake number 6, describing your product. You ask them if they're interested in solving the problem. If they say yes, and you say, okay, I have a resource for you. Are you interested? Yes. And then you describe the modules or the benefits of your product that could solve their problem. Next one, mistake number 7. This is one of the most important ones. I said that they weren't sorted by importance, but this one is, it's not more important than the others. It's just that this one is very hard to fix. Mistake number 7. You keep talking after you made the offer. It's very common. When you don't feel 100% that your service is the best fit for them, you keep talking because you want to implement, you want to improve, you want to add something on. So you say, when they tell you the problem, and then you say, okay, I have a resource for you. It's a program that would solve that problem. Is that something you like to do? And then you remain completely silent. Don't say a word. Let them think and respond to that. And the mistake actually occurs right here. You say, is that something you'd like to do? And then you keep talking. You don't wait for them to answer. And you say, you know what? Because this would actually help you in regards to that and those things. And then you keep talking because you want to make it look better. Because they just paused to think, and you thought that you had to say something else in addition to everything you've said already. Do not say a word. Don't keep talking after you made the offer. When you say, this is what I have to offer, if they ask about the price, you simply answer it. It's $6,000 for a 12-week program, or it's $2,000 or $12,000, $10,000, whatever is the price. You tell them the price, and then you ask again, is that something you like to do? And you don't say a word. Don't say a word after that. Is that something you like to do? And wait. Even if it goes for like a whole minute, wait. It should be awkward. They will feel like they have to say something, and they'll think about it. Maybe they're just thinking. Maybe they're trying to come up with an objection. If you say something, it may be contributing for them to come up with an objection. If you mention something, maybe you ruin their train of thought. Don't say a word. That's a very common mistake. You keep talking after you made the offer. Make the offer and wait to see if they're interested. And that's actually, you could take advantage of that moment, maybe those 10 seconds, to analyze and try and feel if they're understanding the offer, the benefits of having you as their coach. And that's how you avoid that mistake. Wait for them to say the word first. Yes, no, how much? I don't know, maybe, I'll talk to my wife. You wait for them to say something. Don't keep talking about your product just to try and make it look better. That's a very common mistake. And like I said, it's not easy to fix because we feel the urge to say, we feel like, I gotta say something. it's too awkward, and it's maybe they didn't understand, maybe they want a little bit more, maybe I could talk about module 9, or by the way, you shouldn't have more than 6 or 7 modules, so if you have a ninth module, that's not a mistake, not included here. But maybe they want to know about my bonus, so I'm going to talk about bonus. If it's not a webinar, we're not talking about webinars here, we're talking about sales calls. You shouldn't talk about bonus. Don't talk other mistakes that are not included here. Talk about bonus that were not mentioned or not asked for. Discount. Oh my God! Never talk about discount. Like you make the offer and then they don't say anything. It's the same mistake actually. And then you know what? We have payment plans. They didn't ask for it. You don't have to give an option for payment plans. They didn't ask for that. If they say, "Oh, $6,000," okay. I've had clients say, "6, yeah, I could, yeah, I can. 6 is okay, I think." And then they ask for a discount. But if I had given them a discount before they had asked, they would have agreed to the discounted price, and then you lost the opportunity to actually ask for full price, what your course, what your program actually deserves, the full price, what it's worth, right? So there you have it. Those are the 7 common mistakes coaches make on sales calls. I want you to analyze. Maybe you've made 1 or 2, maybe all of them. I know I have made all of the 7. I went on calls not prepared. I coached my prospects. That was happening all the time. I offered a solution because it was a program that I had built. It was amazing, so I wanted to give it to them. But they weren't a good fit, and I did it anyway. I offered it, so I lost the sale, obviously. I went on calls without telling a successful story. Maybe I told my personal story, but I didn't tell them a successful story of one of my clients. If you don't have clients, you can talk about if you don't have clients yet, you can talk about your story when you had success using this method. I went on calls not having any intentions to work to close a sale. That's a very good one, and it happens all the time. You get distracted and you're like, oh. And then you lose the train of thought, and then you don't close. You don't go for the close. I described my product. I went on calls not long ago describing my modules. Come on, they don't want to know all the modules. They want to know if you can help them. So make the most of the time you have with them. And the number 7, the keep talking after you made the offer. That's very hard to fix. This is a mistake. But you have to go out there and practice it. Is that something you like to do? Ask that question and wait for them. If they don't say a word, remain silent. They'll have to say a word. And they eventually say something like, I don't know, how much is it? And then you answer the question. You answer only the questions they ask. Don't answer questions they haven't asked, because you may be creating objections in their heads that weren't there. All right, so that's your homework. You will go on a sales call and you try to avoid these mistakes. You can write them down and see if you are making them and try and avoid them. And then you will convert more and you have more clients, and that's what we all want.